was in a room full of felons, full of people that had domestic violence cases against them. And all I could do was sit back and look around the room and just be in awe of the life lessons I was learning. So you're like, Ciana, what do you mean you were in a room full of felons? So let me actually explain why I was in a room full of felons, okay? So I have to be careful how I say this. I was summoned for jury duty, okay? So I can't say the time frame. I can't say the timeline. I can't say what the case was about. I can't say if I got picked or not. I can't say what the outcome, I can't say anything about anything, okay? I'm just giving you my really, really wild revelation going through that juror summoning experience. And I just was like, whoa. So, okay, we all go. And, there's several people that are also summoned. And, which is normal, which is how the process goes. It's not just you by yourself. Or maybe it could be, I don't know. And I'm there. We're all barely looking at each other, right? We're barely looking at each other. We're barely, it's just such an awkward experience. You can tell people don't want to be there. And there's something that the judge said. I was like, oh my gosh, first of all, I see why she's a judge, because that was really profound. And I'll tell you what that was in a second. So you could tell people didn't want to be there, yada, yada, yada. And so it comes time for everyone to get called into another room. And I have to be careful how I say this. So as I'm looking around, and then people are kind of glancing at me, I'm glancing at them, natural human nature is we're all kind of, sizing each other up, right? To some degree. Oh, okay, that person looks like they're a little older. That person kind of looks like they could be of college age. That person kind of looks like they're in this industry. That person kind of looks like blue collar. That kind of person looks like white collar. And so you're just looking around at these individuals that you usually would never be in a room with, outside of maybe the DMV, the car shop, but there's really not, it's at random, right? These are not usually people that you would cherry pick. They're just, it's the most random collection of human beings that are in this one group together on this one day. And so we all go into this one room, and a series of questions start to be asked, right? Which is the process of jury selection, and just seeing if individuals are the right candidate for the particular case that's at hand. And I was shocked. And number one, you don't, first of all, everyone's like glancing at each other, but there's kind of this energy of no one's really, no one's striking up a conversation on the side just to kind of pass time. Everybody's in their phone, right? But you kind of of course, glance up at your environment. You can see human beings' faces and their body structure, and maybe someone answers a phone call real quick. You know what I'm saying? Before going into this other room where you're not allowed to have your phone on. And so, and then this other room that you're in, you pretty much, depending on where you're sitting, you just see the back of heads, right? It just the angle that you're at. So when the series of questions started, you hear the voices coming out of different individuals' mouths, and we all had to go around and answer. And then also what I was going to say is, there's only numbers. No one gets called by their name. You are a number. It's you just have a juror number, and that's who you are. So it's not you can go and remember the name and try to look them up or nothing like that, which I actually really appreciate. Like, I love that it's like that, because obviously for safety reasons. And so I was shocked that there was several people that had felonies. Several people that just had like domestic violence situations. There was one individual that if you saw this individual, like if you walked by them in the mall or saw them at a restaurant, like maybe they were casually next, sitting next to you at the next booth over, you would assume that they had money. Like, you would assume that they were very well off. They were dressed very nice, very, very polished looking person, kind of looked like the age of like maybe late 40s, 50s, very, very just well put together, good looking person, healthy looking person, adult. And this person said that they were living with, like, but I'm not saying it's bad to live with a parent, but the way that this person looked, you would think that maybe the elder parent was living with them, like in their mansion. Like, that's how this person, that was a perception, just based on societal norms and how it's kind of programmed us to think, unfortunately. That's how this person looked. So they lived with their parent. They were unemployed. They were having issues with a child, co-parenting experience, right? These questions are very, very personal that is asked. So I was like, whoa, like this is really intense. So it's like, I love that everybody's randomized and numberatized, if that's even a word, because you just, no one's ever gonna, even if any of us ever did bump into each other, I don't even think there would have to be something that really stood out. I don't even think I would recognize. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if I was recognized, because I was the only person that was Black and Punjabi in there. So maybe there could have been someone that was Black, but unless they were like really mixed or something, like I looked the most visually, like I just stood out. And again, I don't know if it's not done on purpose. It just was how the collection of jurors ended up falling was like, I just ended up being, and I think it's because of also the region, the area in LA County that I live in, that is the demographic. There's not as many Black people. So just to put it bluntly. So, okay. So this person, is having these concerns, and then the judge asks, is there anyone that has financial hardship and would just have a hard time with being able to be a part of this trial? And the person that I'm referring to raised their hand, and I just was like, this is so interesting. Like, you would look at this person and literally want to ask them for financial advice. Like, you would literally assume that they had investing accounts and all that, right? And then there was another person that was very, very, you could tell that they were at least 60 plus, very articulate, very put together, and literally was like, they had dealt with alcohol abuse. It runs in their family. They had a felony in their past in regard to alcoholism. And I just was like, there's no judgment. It's just, I was like, whoa, like, we are so conditioned to assume that somebody wouldn't be a part of something or someone would do something. And it's just like, you really cannot judge a book by its cover. And then it made me think about, and I have another one in a second. I was like, whoa. So then it made me think about how we'd all do this with social media. Like, we all are looking at social media And please, please, please get in front of social media. It's just going to only get worse. So get a hold of your social media addiction as soon as you can. But it made me think about it, and I'm like, wow, there's so many people that are getting surgeries, going through depression, going through all these different series of emotions by looking at somebody else that has this perceived life. And everybody is comparing themselves to a fairy tale. Like, people are comparing themselves to a facade. And it's almost like there's like this great distortion that's happening, that's already happened. And now there's all the rise of mental health and all that because of how the brain works, of like, I'm sure there's a reason why humans kind of unconsciously start to compare themselves. Maybe it's like a survival thing primitively that wasn't unhealthy hundreds of years ago, right? But now with the type of society that we live in, it is a concern because of what we are comparing ourselves. It's not even a real thing. Some is, right? Like some they really are successful, or they really do look like that in person, but they're only showing the 10%, that you don't see the other 90% of like how they grinded and got that mansion or got that fit body or whatever, right? So I'm not saying it's all fake, but you know, Instagram specifically was designed to just show highlights. And if you don't have emotional, you know, a high amount of emotional intelligence and high discernment, you could get sucked in. So then there was this other person that said that, again, great looking person, put together, like looked like they were maybe a very good looking, like someone in their 50s, right? Maybe mid 50s. And then the judge gets to asking the questions, and you know, and it's you're sworn in, so you have to, you know, obviously be very honest. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, whatever, you'll never know who it is. But, you know, the person is like, yeah, you know, I struggled with drug addiction for many, many years. And I mean, this person is healthy, fit looking 50-year-old, great looking, well put together. And then I heard a quote, and I just was like, it reminds me of my jury summoning experience. Like it was, every saint has a past. And then I think the opposite, I'm butchering this, so please correct me in the comments, but it was, every saint has a past and every scammer has a future, something like that. I don't know if it said the word scammer, but it was pretty much alluding to like someone that is like, you know, not a good person, right? A scammer, a robber, a thief, right? Every robber or thief or scammer has a future, and then every saint has a past. So it's like, I was in a room full of several human beings that had a past, and they were living in their, I guess you could call it, just for lack of, you know, just for the sake of the analogy that I use, like they were living in their saint season. Like they've cleaned up, they learned their lessons, they value life. Like the person that I'm talking about that had the drug addiction was like, I never have touched a sip of alcohol. I've never touched anything close to drugs ever again. I love my family. I love raising my children. I love working hard for my children. And, you know, I love family big. Like, it just was so beautiful to see that, like, this person you would never know. Like, this person doesn't, you might see them and be like, oh, they're not relatable because they're just so polished looking. But not knowing that in their youth, they were struggling and they were down bad. So, and then there was another person, I was like, whoa, like you, unfortunately, again, like you hear certain accents and then you just assume, okay, well, you know, they're of a different generation. They have an accent. So maybe, you know, they might have, you know, immigrated here. You know, my father is an immigrant. So this is no offense to any accent. My dad has the thickest Punjabi accent ever, because he still is very much in a community where he is only around mainly Indian people. So he doesn't have to talk English. Like, he doesn't have to speak English a lot unless he's speaking like on the phone to the bank or something, right? So this is no offense to that, to anyone with an accent. But I'm saying, you know, you assume that when someone looks like 65 and above and then they have an accent, that, you know, maybe they aren't from here, or maybe, you know, whatever. And this person is like, was born here, had several businesses, several you know, what is it called? Degrees and all that. And I don't know, they're like, because, you know, you can't go that much into detail, but it's like, so I just was like, this was such a beautiful experience, because, and then, you know, who knows what they were assuming about me, right? Like, it goes the opposite way too. So it's just very interesting that it was an eye-opener that we really are conditioned by society and mainly social media, because that's what humans are really hanging out on these days, to perceive things in a certain way, and it's literally not reality. And then one thing that I just want to share with anyone that ever does get summoned for jury duty, that I had never thought of before, because I don't have a ton of experience in getting summoned, right? And so the judge was like, I just want to basically start off this dialogue with you all with basically, you know, bowing our heads and giving our, you know, the people that are in service, so, you know, the military, the Marines, you know, everyone that basically has laid their life, like has lost their life during service out in the field, right? And, you know, and then the judge was like, I started off like that because, you know, this is people kind of like huff and puff and kind of are like, man, I have to do jury duty, and I got this to do, I got that to do, and the judge was like, this is, you know, people have fought and lost their life so you can go on vacation with your family. People have fought and lost their life so that way you can speak up and say, you know what, to be honest, I really don't want, like, you can have an opinion. There's other countries where you cannot have an opinion, and you, like, if you have an opinion against the government, it's all bad for you. But here in America, we have freedom of speech. I mean, yeah, we get censored online, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, technically someone could stand on a corner and start yelling, and we see it all the time in LA, start blasting off whatever they want to say or talk about, and they're not going to get, you know, stoned or anything like that. Like, they're, you know, people are just walk by and mind their business as this person is exercising their freedom of speech. And I just was like, you know what, I really do. And then she, you know, the way that the judge explained it, it was just like 10,000 times better than the way I'm articulating it. Like, I'm not even scratching the surface of how eloquently she explained the reasoning, why it's so important to be proud that you may have to do some time or a little bit of time to just serve your country, and just, this is your part of, you know, being able to live in the country that we live in. So I just thought that was eye-opening, and I just was like, yeah, that is true. Like, you know, and then again, the way that the questions are, it's like, if an individual is genuinely unable to really like be a part of that jury experience, like, there is precautions and like processes and procedures of how, you know, it can get postponed and stuff like that, right? But so I just wanted to give that word to anybody that is just feeling, you know, we're going in a holiday season and people are feeling bad, people are feeling like, I don't have money for Christmas presents, I don't know who I'm going to hang out with for Thanksgiving because I don't really have a family, or I don't really, you know, I'm looking on Instagram and there's all these photos of everybody doing these amazing things, and, you know, family photos and and you just never know. Like, you really just don't know what people are going through. So just remember, like, if everybody was forced to get sworn in and speak the truth, okay, about what their life is really like behind the photos, I think 75% of the comparison anxiety that a lot of people are a part of, or you know, have succumbed to, would disappear. Because it's like, I think that's why there's like an exposure culture too, because it's like, oh, you know, I'm exposing this person because they really aren't who they're leading to be, and then they're putting other people down or whatever, right? So, and not everybody puts people down, but there is people that, you know, they only post the beauty of things, the beauty of physical material, right? And I don't personally necessarily think that's a bad thing. We just have to have enough discernment to know that there's more. Like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and it's pretty much the same. So if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 100,000, right? And so we can only, like, there's more to the story is pretty much what that's saying. It's like, you know, you don't know if somebody just got in a fight right before that photo or that video. You don't know what happened right after that video was taken. If, you know, if really they ran up their credit cards to go on that trip. Like, you just literally don't know. So I really hope that just gives you like a little bit of an eye-opener to just be thankful, be grateful, and just keep focusing on yourself, keep leveling up. We talk about health, fitness, mindfulness on my channel a lot. This is what my channel is about. I even view my channel as more of like, this is our channel and I'm just the steward of it, because, you know, we gotta kind of check each other from time to time and say, hey, it's okay, give yourself grace, but let's go. Like, let's level up. Let's get off social media so much. Let's start the business. Let's get our fitness together. Let's start working on our self-development. Let's get better at speaking. Let's get better at being able to budget better. Like, you know, we're going to be doing improvements, like micro improvements every single day, to end up leading to this bigger, massive change, right? For the better for ourselves. So that's what this page is about. So if you're resonating with it, go ahead and give the video a like. Go ahead and tap in with us and subscribe. And I'm giving away a really cool heated blanket for the month of November, just as a thank you for tapping in with the Embody Pursuit tribe. So go ahead and click the link down below, and I think you just do your first name, your email, and then you're just signed up, and I'll be announcing that winner. I've already given away treadmills, juicers, travel bags, like really cool stuff. So you're going to want to be a part of that while we have that going on. And I have a bunch of other cool stuff in my links down below that you might want to check out if you're like, oh, who is this person? You know, what is she about? I have everything that I eat, a lot of like my grocery list, stuff I use to work out, all that stuff is in my Amazon links down below. And I use like protein powder from Supps. I love them. So just check out my links down below if there's anything that you want to screenshot and save and list for yourself in the future. I have a lot of resources down in my links below. And I hope you guys have a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful day. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Just don't. Focus inwardly and you will be rewarded. Have a beautiful rest of your day.